The land of India, together with Bangladesh and most of Pakistan, forms a well-defined subcontinent, set off from the rest of Asia by the imposing northern mountain rampart of the Himalayas and by adjoining mountain ranges to the west and east. In area, India ranks as the seventh largest country in the world. Much of India's territory lies within a large peninsula, surrounded by the Arabian Sea to the west and the Bay of Bengal to the east. Cape Comorin, the southernmost point of the Indian mainland, marks the dividing line between these two bodies of water. India has two union territories composed entirely of islands, Lake Chatweep, in the Arabian Sea, and the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, which lie between the Bay of Bengal and the Andaman Sea. The Himalayas, the loftiest mountain system in the world, form the northern limit of India. This great, geologically young mountain arc is about 1,550 miles long, stretching from the peak of Nanga Parbat at 26,660 feet in Pakistan-administered Kashmir to the Namcha Bawa Peak in the Tibet Autonomous Region of China. Between these extremes the mountains fall across India, southern Tibet, Nepal, and Bhutan. The width of the system varies between 125 and 250 miles. Within India the Himalayas are divided into three longitudinal belts, called the Outer, Lesser, and Great Himalayas. At each extremity there is a great bend in the system's alignment, from which a number of lower mountain ranges and hills spread out. Those in the west lie wholly within Pakistan and Afghanistan, while those to the east straddle India's border with Myanmar. North of the Himalayas are the plateau of Tibet and various trans-Himalayan ranges, only a small part of which, in the Ladakh region of Jammu and Kashmir state, are within the territorial limits of India. In general, the various regional ranges and hills run parallel to the Himalayas' main axis. These are especially prominent in the northwest, where the Saska Range and the Ladakh and Karakoram ranges, all in Jammu and Kashmir state, run to the northeast of the Great Himalayas. Also in Jammu and Kashmir is the Pir Panjal Range, which, extending along the southwest of the Great Himalayas, forms the western and southern flanks of the Vale of Kashmir. The second great structural component of India, the Indo-Gangetic Plain, also called the North Indian Plain, lies between the Himalayas and the Deccan. The plain occupies the Himalayan Forehead Deep, formerly a seabed but now filled with river-borne alluvium to depths of up to 6,000 feet. The plain stretches from the Pakistani provinces of Sindh and Punjab in the west, where it is watered by the Indus River and its tributaries, eastward to the Brahmaputra River Valley in Assam state. The Ganges River Basin, mainly in Uttar Pradesh and Bihar states, forms the central and principal part of this plain. The eastern portion is made up of the combined delta of the Ganges and Brahmaputra rivers, which, though mainly in Bangladesh, also occupies a part of the adjacent Indian state of West Bengal. This deltaic area is characterized by annual flooding attributed to intense monsoon rainfall, an exceedingly gentle gradient, and an enormous discharge that the alluvium-choked rivers cannot contain within their channels. The Indus River Basin, extending west from Delhi, forms the western part of the plain. The Indian portion is mainly in the states of Haryana and Punjab. Most of the coast of India flanks the eastern and western Ghats. In the northwest, however, much of coastal Gujarat lies to the northwest of the western Ghats, extending around the Gulf of Khambhat and into the salt marshes of the Kathiawar and Kach peninsulas. These tidal marshes include the Great Rann of Kach along the border with Pakistan and the Little Rann of Kach between the two peninsulas. Because the level of these marshes rises markedly during the rainy season, the Kach Peninsula normally becomes an island for several months each year. From about 5000 BCE, increasing numbers of settlements began to appear throughout the Indo-Iranian borderlands. These, as far as can be judged, were village communities of settled agriculturalists, employing common means of subsistence in the cultivation of wheat, barley, and other crops and in the keeping of cattle, sheep, and goats. There was a broadly common level of technology based on the use of stone for some artifacts and copper and bronze for others. Comparison and contrast to the high-quality painted pottery of the period suggest distinct groupings among the communities. At a somewhat later date, Probably toward the middle of the 4th millennium BC. Agricultural settlements began to spread more widely in the Indus Valley itself. The earliest of these provide clear links with the cultures along or beyond the western margins of the Indus Valley. In the course of time, a remarkable change took place in the form of the Indus settlements, suggesting that some kind of closer interaction was developing, often over considerable distances, and that a process of convergence was underway. This continued for approximately 500 years and can now be identified as marking a transition toward the full urban society that emerged at Harappa and similar sites about 2600 BCE. For this reason, this stage has been named the Early Harappan, or Early Indus, culture. India is full of all different kinds of terrain, and the people of India have settled in different parts of the country for various reasons. If you settled in India, where would you settle and why?